Welcome to Doom Scroll Patrol. We are Sans Aaron, and we're going to do a little mini-sode for you guys. Today, we're talking about towns suing big oil, the AI bubble just about to burst, Stephen Miller's Nazi glitch, and we also talk about not giving up the fight for the future. I'm your host, Sam Perez.
I'm Harold Moss.
I'm Hannah Snape.
And you know what? Let's get into this, baby!
Whoop.
Here we go again.
There's a Maryland judge is weighing in right now whether cities can sue over climate change. So communities, including Baltimore and Annapolis, are asking the state's top court to revive a case accusing oil companies of spreading disinformation, which I think, yes, you should be able to, but I have, obviously you should, because it's like, there's so much evidence and scientific fact to back up that it's like we know who's poisoning the world. Like, we know exactly who it is. And
we know their names, their addresses, their corporate offices.
Utah Phillips said, it's like, we know who's killing the world and we have their addresses.
Yes.
And it's like, it's these people, but our government loves money and protecting these people. And there's this, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, of course they're not going to win. Cause like, you know,
but it is an important part of the battle. I mean, I think that's the part of the thing when we look, when we feel hopeless, when you look at the scale of wealth that they've deployed to ensure profit at the cost of all life on earth, it's overwhelming. But the fact is that every arena of struggle is meaningful, and youth carrying out lawsuits against international lawsuits, local lawsuits. These are one of the arenas, and it can be quite effective. Particularly what needs to happen is right now, homes are becoming uninsurable, right? I don't know if you saw, and let's put the clip up, home after home in North Carolina just falling into the ocean, right? Just swept away. This is just a harbinger. Harbinger? It's not a harbinger. It's
a harboringer.
Harboringer?
It's harbinger.
Harbinger.
Let's just pretend I knew how to say that, please. In the edit.
It's a go back to one. Take it again.
So North Carolina, house after house on the outer shores is just falling into the ocean, and this is just a harbinger of what's to come. We are going to be losing entire coastal areas, hundreds of millions of people losing their homes. Housing is becoming uninsurable already in the here and now. Wildfires in the west, floods and erosion in the east. We need to make fossil fuels uninsurable because the damages that they cause on a daily basis, it needs to be unaffordable to be trafficking in the stuff. And those lawsuits are part of that. And it's also an act of erosion of just everywhere, every front, everywhere we can start associating a cost to it, because our government being bought by the fossil fuel industry, they're not associating the cost. So the lawsuits are actually really powerful. And I think when localities sue and when young people sue, it's part of people kind of understanding. And even if they lose, it's part of the process of people shifting and understanding the existential level of the threat.
Yeah, it's kind of like going back to like uninsurable stuff. It's something I've always thought about, where I can't remember where I read it or someone talked about it, but it basically said like, you may not believe in climate change, but like your insurance provider sure as hell does.
Oh yeah, they're like insurance companies, absolutely. And it used to be the military did, but of course now even the military, who's a huge emitter and a cause of the problem, and is the size it is in order to secure
are you
and
saying
defend
Pete
oil.
Hegseth is a climate denier?
It doesn't exist for me.
Has there been like any other point in recent history where an industry has been spreading misinformation and hiding?
Tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco is where a lot of the playbook.
Tobacco, okay. Yeah, so how did that end? Did people start, because I know it was a huge shift.
They did shift it. There are generational shifts in that. The tobacco industry really went after other markets in other countries where they could get around it. And so they really have been emphasizing addicting people in the global south, addicting people in places where they can buy the silence of the health critics. And of course, they're still allowed to, and they're still allowed to sell the product, and they're still allowed to make it, and all of those things. But a lot of that has been the shift around there.
So is the next step just gonna be like having huge warning signs on all the gas pumps being like, if you do this, you're gonna die?
I mean, what really the key is, and it's happening, there's a momentum happening already around the world. The US is now an anchor rather than in any way helping push it forward, which is not only is the lawsuits and making it unaffordable because of the liabilities associated with creating a poisonous, horrible product that's threatening all life on Earth, but also making it just cost ineffective. And that's where China's going to rule. We've talked about this is going to rule the next 1,000 years if we have a next 1,000 years, because that's what they're doing. And the deployment and the scale and the dropping of cost of renewables and all the things that they're lying about here, which is, well, the sun doesn't, I'm not even going to do a Trump. I just start punching myself. The sun doesn't shine at night. You don't have any electric, as Gavin Newsom, who I'm not particularly a big fan, but he is trolling Trump quite well, says, we got batteries, dumbass. Also, solar
generators, like solar can power a generator that you can use later.
Yeah. And solar is also present when you're at the highest peaks of demand for air conditioning and workplaces. And so it actually, all of the renewables, lower cost, increased. The only reason Texas didn't crash over the summer was because of all the wind power that was put in there, because that actually helped stabilize it. So everything they're saying here, obviously, I think that goes without saying. Probably anybody who's tuning in here already knows. Everything they're saying about climate is a complete lie. It's absolute bullshit. It's literally just money from the fossil fuel industry, placing executives in charge of our energy systems and lying in order to try and get 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 5 more years of unfettered profits out of a death cult fuel system.
Yeah. It reminds me of that one. I can't remember what he was. He was a senator. He was that old guy. And he was like against wind, obviously, because he's in like oil pockets. But he was like, we can't do wind power because wind's a finite resource and we'll run out of it.
We'll run out of wind.
But I think you have to take this seriously.
We can talk about how, was it the one Sam Altman wants to do will take more power than New York City and San Diego combined.
Yeah, New York City. And that's in the near term. They're talking about investing $1 trillion in data centers. Then I think we've talked about this before, but like previous booms, like the ones that laid the fiber cable networks, companies went bankrupt, but they left something useful behind. These data centers, the minute you turn it on, it's like a car. Its value is already almost gone by the time you've turned it on. This is just pure waste. There is nothing. 15% of the stock market is now based on AI valuation, and they're just burning hundreds of billions of dollars. So there's 2 things going on. They need to keep the scam going to get more hundreds of billions in. And as we've talked about before, they're convinced that they're going to be able to get a super intelligence and take over the world. Palantir being able to have a surveillance state. They're building Skynet on the one hand, and they're continuing the grift on the other. We are the GDP, which problematic. We don't really need an economic growth model. It's killing us. But as it stands now, without AI would have been like a 0.1% growth. This bubble is what's keeping the American economy going, while everything else is falling apart because of tariffs and mass deportations and all of this nonsense. So the AI bubble it's going to be worse than the .com bubble. It may be worse than the 2008 real estate bubble. And it's all and we've let credibly accused sister rapist, demonstrable Nazi salute throwing Nazis, and like pure, that Sam Altman, sorry, and Elon Musk, if I'm not being clear enough, and pure expressions of the excrement of evil from the pits of hell shat onto the earth. Peter Thiel, these are the people who are doing all of this. And every corner you walk into, education, media making, everywhere I go, everyone's like, well, either they're like, well, can't you just do it with AI? Not understanding it. Or they're saying, well, there's nothing we can do because everyone's using AI now. If we want to do anything, we have to lean into it.
Yeah, that's
it's like the scam is so complete.
Even like in it's like you said, every corner. Because like obviously I still am involved in film and television production, and seeing like George Miller, creator of Mad Max, being like, yeah, I'm going to use AI and be part of it. There's like some AI film fest coming up or something. And he's like, I'm into it. And then like Jason Blum of Blumhouse, who has like done a lot of like in like just amazing horror of the last 15 years on like that functions on like creativity and the artistry of the people who make those films. Like that's what they built their company with. He was just like, yeah, we're gonna you got to use AI because like everyone's doing it. It's basically like, well, everyone else is jumping off the bridge, I better jump off the bridge too. Like that's what it feels like. And just hearing like those two like say like, yeah, we got to back AI now, it's just like really
and they don't understand. I mean, and people are already sick of it. People are hungering for the real, and it's not what it is. I will say shout out to Jim Lee.
From DC
Marvel.
Comics. DC.
Sorry, Jim Lee of DC Comics, who says DC Comics will not support AI generated storytelling or art. I think that's a smart. It's not just I don't want my kids to die of thirst while catching spontaneously on fire because of $8 trillion worth of data centers has destroyed all life on Earth, which should be enough. Like that should be enough to be like, hey, hold on a second. It's also a good brand move because DC Comics will not be associated with slop, and just people won't revolt against it because people are looking for the real. And when I go into education spaces and everybody just like, well, this is where the money is. Of course it is, because that's where the tech bros and the tech Nazis and fascists are trying to flood it to get their things going. It's like, shouldn't our first question be, first of all, we know what to do with education. Smaller class sizes, pay teachers well, so you can attract and retain the best talent. Make free school lunches and breakfast so no kid learns hungry, right? Yeah. We know what to do. We know what to do. That's the biggest. Disassociate school financing from real estate taxes so that you don't have poor people with less money and rich people with more. Just fund education properly, and 90% of the problems, 95% of the problems we've got in education go away. AI not needed, just what we know do it. Then our first question should be, what harm might we be causing? Not like, oh, well, we can fix the test score thing. No, we know how to do that. Fund it, feed the kids, give them healthcare, make sure everything's done, tax a few rich trillionaires a little bit more so you can pay for it. Then it's like, let's not do any harm, because we see the cognitive loss from students using ChatGPT to write their papers and read their texts, right?
Well, also like even people I know in social work, like a lot of times, because you have to do notes after you meet with people, like put in their file. A lot of times now they're using AI notes stuff, and it's just like, are you insane? Like, I don't know.
The intention is to make people dependent and lack all autonomy and capacity for thought. We've been undermining education for decades. Some of this is a byproduct. Some of this is the effect, not the side effect, right? It's to undermine independent thought, cognitive capability of reading, analyzing. More people are using ChatGPT than Wikipedia now, getting so that they don't have to think, hey, Grok, how stupid am I? You know, hey, Grok, what movie is this? Hey, Grok, that. Hey, ChatGPT. You know, it's like this is the thing.
Well, to be fair, I was coming up with my top 10 horror movies this morning, and I asked ChatGPT. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, what are my favorite horror movies?
What are my favorite horror movies? Just go to DuckDuckGo.
I don't need a soulless gadget to tell me how to live.
Have you guys heard about Tilly Norwood, the AI actress?
She's not an actress. Yeah. And she's not even a thing. She's a hype.
But everyone's going crazy because apparently she's announcing what agency is going to represent her.
Also, they made a movie about this with Al Pacino. It was called Simone.
Right.
And it was about a
shit.
fully AI actress and kind of like the problems that happened with it. Like this.
But
so,
they
was I
also
the
this
only
is
one
this
who
is like
saw
a
the
Hollywood
movie?
reporter is just doing
Oh, yeah, yeah.
stenography for money to boost this thing up. It's all
Yeah.
ridiculous hype cycles. That's all of this is hype cycles in order to somehow keep the hundreds of billions going.
Yeah, I can't wait for George Miller to direct Tilly Norwood in the next Bloomhouse movie for the AI fucking.
Well, I mean, I guess
Shit
it'll be an
fest.
AI director, and then we'll be signing
Yeah.
AI directors.
But, like,
and
what-
then
what-
the audience will be AI because that's as long as they can,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what happens? Because like, there's already so much content out there. Like, there's like 800 billion streaming platforms. There's way more media than we'll ever be able to consume. So, what happens when it's all AI now? And
Well,
it-
the idea
first
is
of all,
they are targeting.
You listen to this podcast. That's the first thing.
That's the first thing you deal with. But it's also that they are that the dream is that they look at your cognitive biases and they stroke you and soothe you and give you just goop that's channeled around you, and then they start weaving in sales and pitches into that goop that's there to just make your brain feel soothed and calm and not challenged or thinking. And that's what this is. And that's what they're doing. They're using AI now to try and target individual people, content, individual ads. And of course, this goes right into what they're doing in terms of that's not just products, that's also politics and repression and biases. And this is what they, this is why Israel wants control of TikTok, right? And it's going to not, and why our theoretical audience, are probably not seeing this because we're seeing the things that we talk about, AI, Gaza, climate, just getting squished on all these platforms, right?
Oh yeah, like the last video we posted, I did about it's literally just quoting the Bible about like foreigners and immigrants. I can't remember what it is. I haven't checked this more.
6 views on
like
TikTok.
6 views.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so clearly that it's like, oh, you're doing something that quotes the Bible that says we should love foreigners.
Yeah.
Repressed.
Not
I mean, this
today.
is not today, Satan or Jesus.
You've called the district judge's ruling blocking the deployment of National Guard in Oregon legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me?
So, Stephen,
Whoopsies.
Stephen, can you hear me? Stephen, can you hear me? Now they then, so I'll get into what the import behind this is. They then re-edited that. Fortunately, it had been gone so that you didn't have that pause after Stephen Miller said plenary authority. Why is that?
It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical issue. We'll try to fix that and get back to you after a quick break. Stay with CNN. We're back out live with White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. Stephen, I sincerely apologize for that technical difficulty. It seems like some wires got crossed. You were describing the president's legal authority as you see it under Title 10.
What is plenary authority? Let me get the actual definition up so that I'm being...
It's
total and complete power.
I'll say just a spoiler alert. It ain't good.
Yeah, it's basically absolute. It's a power that has been granted. I do use Wikipedia, by the way, still, and not ChatGPT. And the accuracy of Wikipedia is a lot greater. Plenary power is a power that has been granted to a body or person in absolute terms with no review of or limitations upon the exercise of that power. The assignment of a plenary power to one body divests all other bodies from the right to exercise that power where not otherwise entitled. They're not subject to judicial review in a particular instance or in general. Now, what are some other political leaders that have had plenary power, as he described it.
Mussolini,
Hitler, Pol Pot, and Stalin. Yeah. And that's why clearly, I mean, although it was fun just to watch and be like, oh, maybe they replaced Stephen Moon with a robot some time ago run by ChatGPT and it just broke. But clearly someone was like, dude, you said the fucking quiet part out loud. We're not allowed to talk about plenary power. We can't do, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, and then
I'll just pretend like I'm going through a tunnel, guys.
Yeah, I can't. Well, no, it wasn't just a blank stare. It was just like the void that is the moral and decent center of any human being, the void that is in that place. And Stephen Miller just shone through his eyes. And then clearly someone was like, CNN, you got to cut that out. And it was live. They cut it out and reposted it. They're saying the quiet part out loud, and we know this. And we're getting this with Pritzker and with Newsom, where actually people are talking about it. They are sending troops and they're sending also completely unconstitutional Texas National Guard to Illinois. They're trying to do this occupation thing so that they're losing the population. Nobody wanted Project 2025. It was unpopular to begin with. The media just said, oh, that's not Trump's plan. You're just, went along, helped Trump get back into power.
You're just a bunch of blue-haired crazy people.
People saying that, and now Trump's being like, 2025, hell yeah. Nobody ever liked it. It was horrible for everybody if you weren't a Christian nationalist or a billionaire. And now that it's all being rolled out and everything's being destroyed and prices are going up and everything's falling apart, of course they're less popular. So they are absolutely laying the basis for a fully authoritarian takeover of the government. That's not to say, because I hate, well, it's not like we're ever going to have a free election again. No, you don't fucking give up, roll over and be like, I guess we've lost. These people are unpopular. They've got state power. They're evil. They've got a lot of backing, but people don't like them. And increasingly, they like them even less. So the fucking fight is not over yet. You don't roll over and just be like, well, we're never going to have one anyway, so I don't know what we do now. Fuck that. But that is the stakes. They want plenary power. They want absolute authoritarian power. And they want it before Trump shuffles off into smearing poop on the walls in the next 2 weeks or however long that is, or kicks it. They want to consolidate that power so they don't need someone who, for whatever reason, some big chunk of the racist American population finds so fucking appealing that just anybody from New York is like, really? That guy? That you in Arkansas like that?
Because he tells it like it is, Harold. You don't understand, you New York City boy.
Those are the stakes. They are absolutely they want to have troops at the voting booths. They want to be able to claim that somebody did a mail-in thing, and it's not that. Those are the stakes. And, at least we've got Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck. Anyways.
Well, I mean, to give Trump a little bit of credit, I have met people who've smeared poop on the walls, and while they're not smearing the poop, they're pretty decent people.
It's true.
I don't know if that gives him credit, because even when he's not smearing poop on the walls, he's not a decent person.
He's not decent. Never mind.
Him smearing poop on the walls would be an upgrade.
Yeah,
At least he'd be like some creative expression.
Yeah, he really needs that finger painting.
And that's, I think the main thing is when I say don't roll over, it's like, where do we fight? Well, everywhere we possibly can. Like, even when it feels futile, like we've been making content for years, and clearly whether or not what we're doing is good, it's obvious that it's been getting squished, right? Because just the way that the numbers work, it's getting squished, and it's frustrating. But you've got to keep doing it and finding if we can build new platforms. There are incredible people like Plattner up in Maine and Mondani that we've talked about running for office. And I think people should be looking to run for office at all different levels, right? Getting on the ballot and actually going in with a muscular progressive ready to fight on climate, on justice, on protecting vulnerable communities and immigrants. All of that is part of it. There's going to be marches to come. There's going to be all sorts of things. Labor really needs to step up. The media has failed us, right? The large scale media is they rolled over. Yeah. They continue to normalize it. They did it before he was even in office and helped pave the way for him to be back in office. But people aren't happy, including his people, because you can't really, they're destroying our ability to gather data on everything, including the economy, but you can't just lie your way through inflation. You go to the grocery store and you get couple of bags and you look at the price tag, and it doesn't matter if the president's telling you one thing, even if you're a fan. It's fucking hard to pay for your groceries these days.
Yeah, it sure is. Thank you for listening to Doom Scroll Patrol. Like, comment, and subscribe to Undeniable Network for more content and to support our work.